Yo, 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 welcome to another edition of the Geeky Bros podcast. I'm your boy Tactix.
Yo, it's just Darcy here.
And this is Big Geek Umar. How y'all doing today?
Good, man, good.
Yo, better than some people this week, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. There have been some revelations this week, let's just say.
Revelations. Some people need some come to Jesus moments right now. That's what's going on.
I guess we might as well, just on that note, just jump right in. Okay.
Yo, I've been itching to talk about this stuff, all right? So, if you can't tell.
Okay, so in terms of our geeky news segment of this podcast, there have been a few things that have happened this week. We'll start off with the most lightest one and move into the more controversial ones, let's say.
I'm waiting to see what you putting down the lightest one. Okay.
So Brooklyn Nine-Nine has unfortunately said that while they're still going to do an 8th season, that will be its final season. So they've essentially said that the next season is going to be their last.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
No one really knows why, but we're assuming that of a couple of reasons. One, COVID is they're still paused in terms of their production because of COVID. Secondly, they are a very woke show. They deal with sexism and sexual assault and police corruption and all that sort of stuff. So this season, they're trying to properly do police brutality based off of the whole Black Lives Matter situation and defund the police and all that sort of stuff. So they literally had to scrap out all their season's stuff, and they started rewriting everything in response to what happened. And they say hey, we're standing with BLM. And so I think that kind of makes it difficult for them to do a show after this season, because you can talk about what's going on in the world right now and then kind of do COVID, but it kind of cop shows suddenly became less funny as a result, because they're in New York and but I'm just speculating. They didn't give a full response. They just said that it was.
I would assume it's actually more based off of which company bought it again? Was it NBC who bought it after it?
Yeah,
NBC bought after it went down, right? And their whole probably financial bet was that we will buy this because of the fan love, and then pump out content, and it will therefore bankroll because of that scenario. I think COVID's probably they had that what one season before COVID, right?
Yep.
And I don't know what was the ratings on that. Was it good? Was it average?
People liked it, but it was a shortened season because we got 13 episodes. The 8th season is only going to be 10.
So my guess is that there's a shortened season. They maybe weren't getting quite the numbers they were hoping for. It might have been, let's say, status quo with the season before, but they were hoping that it would boost even higher.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened, and the financial bet isn't really playing its favor, right, for them. So I bet you it's just more let's end it nicely. We'll do the right thing on behalf of the fans, but we're just gonna financially cut the losses, because they probably were expecting it to be worth more than what it's worth. I would argue that the whole Black Lives Matter stuff and whatnot actually could produce more content down the road, but it depends how much they're going to be tied to the wokeness, because they do the Black Lives Matter stuff. Cool. They're not going to solve the problem, because the real problem isn't solved. So do they stay current with that? And if so, does it become a heavy weight that they have to burden every season? Or do they have a way to write around new things and still keep it fresh and whatever? I think that it also depends where the world changes and how things happen. But I think that probably won't be the reason. I think it's just going to come down to money.
T?
This kind of saddens me, to be honest, because I feel like this would be a good opportunity for them now more than ever to continue with the show, given what's going on in the world right now with Black Lives Matter and police brutality and things of that nature. And now they can also have an opportunity to kind of pivot into other serious issues like the LGBT. Did I get all the letters right there?
LGBTQ.
Yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about. Anyway, yeah, I think that would be a really good opportunity for them to pivot into that kind of stuff, and especially with the transgender community, and issues regarding like pronouns and all that stuff. So, I don't know. I I know COVID kind of makes it hard for a lot of shows nowadays to continue and finding new ways, new unique creative ways to kind of stay afloat. But I think at this point it's either sink or swim, right? It's like I don't know. I really don't want to see the show go because I feel like there's a lot of great opportunities for them to not make light of a serious situation, but I think with humor it allows people to create a conversation around certain topics. Like Dave Chappelle is a really good example of that in terms of the Chappelle Show, how he used humor as a way to kind of not poke fun or make light of certain situations, but it got the conversation going, right? And you can argue the fact that it kind of went in two different directions. Like one side, people were like, "Oh, like this is funny," but why is it funny? It's because there's some serious shit going on here. And then there's the ignorant people that were like, "Oh, this is hilarious," and haha, it's just a joke. It's not meant to be taken serious. But I don't think that was Dave Chappelle's intention, right? I think
Yeah.
there's a very fine line between comedy and reality in that regard. So I think with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, they could have taken that opportunity as well to kind of touch on those specific subject matters and stuff. So,
And they've
yeah,
done in the past, like
yeah,
for example, like when Terry got like pulled, like basically arrested
Mhm.
or outside his neighborhood. They did that like with all the black characters involved, and they made it really. And they've been doing woke stuff, so I'm going to definitely see them miss them as well. Like, but at the same time, like 8 seasons, they survived one cancellation, got renewed for 2 extra seasons,
Mhm.
and also COVID making production difficult. And if Darcy's saying if a belief is true that if the money is just like not able to be produced because of it, I hear that. But yeah, I see what you guys are saying. It would have been nice to kind of see Brooklyn Nine-Nine satirically, but at the same time sensitively show what police reform could look like.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. I hear that, and I think that the show could have continued. I just think it's money. I think it's
Yeah.
they didn't get what they wanted, and with the delays and stuff like that, they're probably just looking at it and going like, how far can we really pull this thread,
Yeah.
to get what we want out of it. And obviously, a lot of studios are trying to figure out how they're going to consolidate stuff right now, and be putting that out into, um like on the streaming services and stuff like that. So, and this show might be harder to film than others because they have to delay it because look at the proximity of the characters,
Yeah.
right? It's some shows are like getting around this, like This Is Us is gets around this because they literally have just adopted everything about COVID into the show because they're about real people in real life. So they just did it. Like it's just that's how things are, right?
Yeah.
And some shows are like completely. I'm watching a show I like, not to go too deep into it, but another cop show. I love Blue Bloods, right? And I'm like, they have nothing to do with masks. And I'm like, is this film before? But then at one point they're like talking about the world we're in, and I'm like, what are you referencing? Because you have no masks. Like, I'm like, it's totally confusing. What's going on? So, if it's not adopted into the show and they can't really show that in the show, then it makes it very difficult to like figure how to get that filming done. And probably it's expensive as all hell because of the what they have to do on set behind the scenes that we don't see to film cost wise. So,
Yeah. To kind of jump to our next topic based off what Tactix was saying about the LGBTQ, especially transgendered, our next controversial aspect has to do with Miss Gina Carano, a former big crush of mine that now is like, ugh. She actually Gina Carano's kind of gone down that path where I really relate to Chris Tucker from Rush Hour 2 when he was like crushing on Zhang Zi, and he was like, "Girl, we could have had something. We
Mhm.
could have had something special." but you one crazy ass bitch. And I feel that. I feel that right now. I'm just like, Gina, why?
Yo, she got all the wrong thoughts in all the wrong places. I had to sneak it in. I had to.
So, for those of you who don't know, Gina Carano was kind of had her second break of her career through the Mandalorian, where she played Cara Dune, who was the Mandalorian's like squadron support, and she. First season came out, everyone loved her. Everyone's like, Gina's back. This is amazing. Then the elections happened and COVID happened in America, and she started to get very opinionated, and we talked about that in an earlier show. But, it kind of left there, and the last time we talked about it, it's like, she really should check herself because, well, we're, like, if you put yourself on the platform, don't say stupid shit. And then this week happened. And she kind of already people were kind of saying like some people were saying she should be fired, but no one really followed up on that. And then this week, I can't remember. I think it was like Tuesday or Wednesday. She basically like tweeted about how Republicans are essentially the new Jews, and that we're living in the Holocaust type scenario. Suffice it to say, people were not happy with that.
No.
And that comparison landed her finally fired out of Lucasfilms, and also they were going to do a Cara Dune series, which subsequently got completely scrapped.
So I'm gonna steal something that we said in a previous episode related to Ray Fisher, which we'll get into later.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Which is careful what you say when you're attacking the money. And I'm just saying, if you're going to offend a large group of people, you might not want to offend the people who definitely fund the industry you're in.
But also, she, like, as we have said in the previous episode when we talked about her, she was claiming online bullying then. And now she's blaming cancel culture, because she responded today saying that, I have a more freer voice than I've ever had, and I'm going to, like, with Daily Live or some sort of thing, she's going to do a movie, and she's going to be like open about her philosophies of life. And since she's like an anti-maxer, a masker, anti-vaxxer, and voter conspiracist. I'm trying to be neutral in what I say. I'm really worried what kind of movie she's going to produce.
Well, first off, the people who are backing her are basically like a cheap Fox News. So I can tell you what kind of movie she gonna make. Okay, I'm gonna tell you she gonna be a future anchor on Fox News for some stupid reason. Okay,
like their wrestling correspondent.
Yeah, it's just her sports correspondent. That's all she need to be. She's sports correspondent for Fox News in the future. I'm telling you right now.
But yeah, I'm just like, that one, like, before it escalated quickly, now it really escalated. And she was the one who started off this whole trend by like insulting transgendered people, and people then were trying to like nicely explain that she was being offensive, and then she was like, cancel, you guys are bullying me. And now she's like, cancel culture. And Ted Cruz is even like, we need to stop this cancel culture. It's claimed another victim, Gina Carano. And I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
I just feel bad for her PR team, because like, they had such a good thing going. The money was about to come in, and then she just started talking.
She was going to get her own TV series on Lucasfilms.
I'm just saying.
How about you, T? What are you thinking?
I don't care. I really don't. Like Disney did the right thing. They fired her ass, so it's
Let me ask you this then. So Letitia Wright got into a lot of trouble for, I think it was like reposting an article that had like false vaccination information, and she took it down and apologized. I think like a couple days later, but like she had like Don Cheadle and a whole bunch of other people saying that like she like really fucked up, and like people were saying they, like, not Don Cheadle, but like online people were saying like they need to recast her in Black Panther too.
over that.
over that. And these are, and I checked, a lot of them were black individuals. So I'm just like, how did it take so long for Gina Carano to get axed?
Bro,
Well-
you answered that in your question. Go on, T.
Well, yo, we still have no justice for that chick who got choked out by Ezra Miller. So,
Oh man, yo,
like, that shit just went silent. Like, no
I
one's
just need to ask,
talking
is
about
she
that.
even alive?
She's not. She's dead. She's probably dead.
Because like,
And
the
they're
last
trying to
thing-
cover that shit up.
the last time we saw her, she was being taken to the ground in a chokehold. No one saw her
Yeah.
like get back up.
No, we
It was
heard
like
it.
it was like the Killing Joke in that shit, bro. It was just like she was laughing, and then all of a sudden you hear nothing, bro.
Just Ezra laughing at the end.
Yeah.
with that whole Ezra thing. No matter what level of things we don't understand, of the context that we don't have for that situation, you know that stuff was financially solved by now.
Yeah.
Like, that stuff has been financially resolved, okay? Because I'm just saying, I've never seen anything like that not get public due like quickly. We're talking about like Letitia Wright posting the wrong thing, and this woman get choked out. I'm just saying, there's money got exchanged between people, okay?
Yeah. So okay, moving on to our next controversial revisit, I guess you could say, because we have covered this in a previous, well, multiple times in terms of Ray Fisher, but in terms of Joss Whedon, who we're about to talk about. By the way, T, did you ever watch Buffy?
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh, this might hurt you, man, unless you've already heard about this. So Joss Whedon has returned. Again, he has not commented on anything since all of these revelations about his poorly boss and work environment situation. But earlier this week, Cordelia, or in reality, Chris Carpenter, revealed in a very touching and very saddening post that she was like in a very bad hostile work environment, where when she got pregnant, things got much worse for her, to the point that Joss Whedon asked her if she was going to keep the baby, and then subsequently got fired after she had the baby. And she kept her quiet for all this time, and only recently came out about it. And I think that had to do with like all the talk of Marilyn Manson being out in there, and Chris Carpenter probably felt encouraged to kind of speak out. Mm-hmm. But once Chris Carpenter did that, the last couple of days have shown a steady stream of all the females on Buffy. I don't think Angel, just Buffy. Amber Benson, aka Tara, Eliza Dushku, Faith, and the worst and saddest of all, Michelle Trachtenberg, who played Dawn. Mm-hmm. All of whom have corroborated, if not brought their own situations. And Dawn's one is particularly horrifying because apparently, after a incident with Dawn and Joss Whedon, there was a rule on set that Joss was not to be in a room alone with Dawn ever.
What was the incident?
She said she will never speak of it again. She just said that was the rule after one incident.
Holy.
Wow. Yeah, that one hurt. And I've been a huge Joss Whedon fan. That one hurt.
Bro, I remember like I think even in previous episodes, you talking about like, oh, Joss Whedon, you know, and I've just over the years, you know, like, oh, movies this, movie that. And ever since this stuff been coming out, it's like, yo, man, that your love for Joss Whedon feels wildly misplaced now.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, I feel bad for you right now.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see all of the stuff you just said until you just mentioned it. But like, yo, if one, even if you are the person who was part of creating that child, it is a very poor question to ask if you're just going to keep it, depending on how you phrase it. If you
hold on, wait a minute. That was Joss Whedon's baby? Is that what he was?
No, it wasn't Joss Whedon's baby. What I'm
a
saying
little confused on what you're trying to say, Darce.
What I'm trying to say is, if
like,
you're with somebody and you are asking that question, that could be extremely insensitive. If you're not even in a relationship, you're someone's boss, and you're going to ask that question. That is way so far out the line. Like, you're like, and you're gonna keep it. Like, I'm like, bro, no one's gonna come on set and tell you they're pregnant until all the decisions about like raising the child have been decided.
Well, what I find interesting, well, two things I find interesting. One, almost like Charisma Carpenter literally ended her post saying, "I support Ray Fisher." And I'm just like, girl, like Jason Momoa didn't even do that. And we've been saying that Jason Momoa was the one who was supporting Ray Fisher the most. And Chris Carpenter was like, nah, I'm with him. And then I think like a couple others also said this, like included that same hashtag. So like Ray Fisher literally has the female cast of Buffy backing him up.
Yo, I honestly, Umar, just brace yourself for a second. I'm going to go on a limb here and say that by the time we find out the truth on this, it's going to be somewhere between an R. Kelly documentary and Harvey Weinstein. Because this man has said nothing. You know when people like...
He's remained completely silent.
Kevin Spacey responded, okay? And we found out that guy is House of Cards, okay? And he responded. Joss Whedon has said nothing. And Ray Fisher has destroyed a career trying to expose this. And now a woman has come out and said that he said like, oh, you know, you're going to keep the baby. And another woman in the same company, in the same like team, won't even say what happened. Like if that is the low bar, are you going to keep the baby? Is the low bar of what's been said? What is the other woman not saying?
Yeah, and she was a teenager when the incident occurred.
Yo, I wouldn't be surprised if it's extremely degrading and extremely involving sexual stuff.
Oh, Joss, why? You lied to us, you son of a bitch.
I mean,
how about you? How you feeling about this, T?
Honestly, it's disheartening that this is now just coming to light after how many years? Like, how long ago was Buffy the Vampire Slayer? That was like when I was in high school, bro.
That's like about 20
you know
years.
what I mean? Yeah, man. And so it's like, it's really sad to hear things like that, where it's like these women have been harboring this shit for so long, and it took one person who was abused for, you know, the Marilyn Manson thing or whatever, right? For that to now encourage all of these women that have had a working relationship with Joss Whedon for years and are now just coming, and now all of this is just being brought to light. Like it's sickening. Not to mention, like, yo, fuck this guy for ruining Batman and the Justice League. Like, this shit is just despicable, man. Like, I have no respect, and this is why I very rarely will follow celebrities, because you really just don't know, man. Like, you idolize these like celebrities and think, oh man, they're so amazing, they put out such great bodies of work, and then like years later you find out these guys ain't shit. So it's like,
but this one was especially like treacherous because like as a person he would always spout about like feminism and like supporting feminism and stuff like that. So yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like you don't really know. Like, people are only putting their best foot forward online. Like, no one's ever showing their true self, right?
Yeah.
And so you're idolizing all these people's highlight reels and what they want you to see in these facades, and then years later, it comes to light that these guys are like fucking around and doing all this like weird shit or like disrespectful shit. You know what I mean? It's like that. That's why I don't fuck with celebrities like that, man.
I do wonder two things. One, Ray Fisher seems to be the only male, aside from Spike, who like half and half. Like, he brought up the fact that like Joss was like tyrannical, but also defended it at the same time. So that's why I was like, that's weird. But only Ray Fisher has kind of like come out and said it like as the only male. Like Giles, the guy who played Giles, he recently posted out saying that like I had no idea this was going on, and I've been up all night, realized, like, just thinking, how did I miss all of this? So at least he's not saying it didn't happen. He's just saying he didn't know it was happening. But like, Angel hasn't said anything. Wesley hasn't said anything. Willow hasn't even said anything. But then I just realized, like literally just now, the entire cast of Avengers didn't say anything. Like Marvel hasn't said shit.
Yeah. My hope is that by that point, I don't want to say better, but he's lesser than he was. Like,
Not really, because look at Justice League.
no, I know it. I know exactly. I'm like,
They may have been too big of stars for him to push around.
yeah. I also wouldn't be surprised if Kevin Feige had way more control in the situation because he has a lot of control, and it was like he just didn't have the room to do as much bad.
We knew that Age of Ultron, that definitely was a situation, because like everyone said it was like a miserable set because Joss wasn't able to do what he wanted to do. Kevin Feige wasn't able to get what he wanted to do. It was like a middle ground. But like the first Avengers, like I'm just like, how is aside from Ray Fisher and like a little bit Spike and a little bit Jason Momoa, no guys are talking.
Yeah, yeah.
I kind of agree with Darcy. I feel like because it was bigger stars, like they had a certain level of immunity towards that, right? Like Robert Downey Jr. would have shut that shit down if like
That's
anything
true.
whack was
Yeah.
going on behind the scenes kind of thing, right? So, and he was a big part of the MCU for a long time, right? So he
Samuel L.
wouldn't have
Jackson
let.
would have shot that motherfucker.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like no, there's no way, man. There's no way you can pull that shit. Like this dude, Sam is too deep in the game for that shit to fly, right? So
Yo, I'm just imagining it's like just like saying something like, even like half wrong and just be like, motherfucker.
yeah,
Just like one of those like, what motherfucker? What you say? Like, just, yo, okay, I'm gonna add some weight to this, okay? Because Tactix said earlier, how long were these women carrying this stuff? So I looked this up. The show premiered March 10th, 1997, and concluded May 20th, 2003, which means it probably started filming, let's say, as early as 96. So 25 to 18 years kind of a range. It's depending on when each one of these characters, came into the show and blah, 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 right? Think about that. And going back to Justice League, Gal Gadot had her stuff settled quickly, which I'm just assuming is because she has good lawyers and there's a lot of money riding behind her. And it was kind of like, excuse me, lawyer, call up the head of Warner Brothers, and head of Warner Brothers, like, what the hell? Like, no, just no.
But Buffy, all of them are new.
I know. And what I'm saying is I feel like by the time it got to this level, like he was only getting able to do where power wasn't stronger than him, because he sounds like he's like also so insecure, and that's such a like, he needs this power, but when people literally have power over him, he probably backs off, right? And so I feel like Gal Gadot was able to get the lasso wrapped around his neck, and then that was over. Ray Fisher wasn't able to do that, because he was new, and like and probably like Robbie Downey Jr. and Kevin Feige were like, nope, this ain't happening. And if anything, even got a whiff of the wrong thing. But anytime that Joss has had probably a chance to not, have full power, he's abused it.
I wonder if this will work in Ray Fisher's future, favor in the future.
I hope so, because like I don't want to see a brother go down. Like we were saying, like you need to have a little bit more, because otherwise you could just become, unfortunately, like the angry black person. Just fighting like a fight without like evidence and an issue and all that kind of stuff. And I just hope that I don't want to have to learn horrible more things.
Me too.
But but at the same time, I just want this like over with, and to have it over with, I feel like it needs to be exposed. But I also don't want to
have it over with. We kind of have to like have Joss Whedon arrested.
Yeah, I just want. I don't want the people who want to keep their shit private, right? I want them to be able to stay in anonymity as much as they possibly can. But I just want, like, if Fisher's fighting this fight, I kind of just want him to win, right? I just want it to be like, what is it that happened on Justice League? Like, let's go. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of that stuff is like legally held back by, like, say, Godot's lawyers and stuff like that, and they can't get it out because it's like, well, we have this contract.
I have a lot of respect for like the cast of Buffy for like coming to Ray, like literally coming to Ray Fisher's salvation. Like
Well,
they literally had his back.
Well, that's the thing. Remember what I said about when
Yeah.
we were talking about this last time, right? Like, if you're just one single entity or one
Yep.
single person, like an angry black, you come off as an angry black person, right? But when you have other people backing you, now you have it's a movement, right? And now you can actually you have more of a stronger backing to actually fight against whatever the shit is going on right now. So I think right now, like, had this been like a couple weeks prior, we all kind of were in agreement and said
Yeah,
that,
absolutely.
Ray is kind of fucking up his career right now, right? Because it doesn't seem like anyone's really supporting him other than Jason Momoa, right? But now with all this shit coming to light, especially a lot of women too, like that does
Yeah.
not look good on him at all, right? So
No.
I think he's going to be okay. I think whether he discloses what happened with him personally, like shit is like coming to light right now in terms of like Joss Whedon's interactions with other people that he's worked with in the past. So
Yeah.
I think that's going to really work in Ray's favor now, more so than ever.
Yeah. All right, well, we should probably move on to our next topic, which is something I've been waiting for a long time. So, if you have been watching the show for the last couple of weeks, you'll have noticed that I've been somewhat passive aggressively focusing some frustration
I
at
think it's
Tactix.
somewhat passive aggressively do something.
I'm being coy. Nonetheless, that passive aggressiveness has not. Well, I think it hasn't paid off, but it has in my own way. Tactix has finally watched Demon Slayer.
Yes.
And so now, Tactix, before we have a discussion about Demon Slayer, I would finally like to ask what your full review of the series is, or the season.
Yo,
Full review.
I think Buffy needed a Demon Slayer, though, by the way.
Full review. I can't say it's my favorite anime that I've been recommended
Interesting.
by you guys, but I do thoroughly enjoy it. I'm invested in the show. I want to see where it goes. I'm excited for the movie. A lot of interesting character development, and the villain is fucking top notch. Like, you don't see him a whole lot, but
when you do, he scares the fuck out of you.
Yeah, he's like one of those creepy motherfuckers where you're like, yo, what is going on with you right now, man?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very intrigued by that, and I want to see where that goes. And I know I'm hype because I know that once those two fight, like what's his name again? Todoroki?
Tanjiro.
I don't know where I got that other shit from.
Todoroki is from the anime, but okay. I'm proud of you nonetheless.
It's all a blur, bro. Like, it's just blended together. But yeah, when they fight, when that final fight happens, I know that's gonna be fucking epic, because he's probably only at like he hasn't even like mastered all of his like skill level yet, right? So,
well, I would say that that's true. I don't know if he has. Like, he just mastered the breathing technique to do it like constantly.
Yeah, because he's trying to learn his father's fire technique, isn't he?
Yeah.
So,
but the Hashiras, they all do the breathing technique constantly. That's why they're so powerful.
Got you. Yeah. So,
what do you think of the Hashiras?
I thought the clan, like the Demon Slayer clans, right?
Yeah,
the clan, right?
The heads.
They're all fucking dicks. I hate them. I hate every last one of them. They're fucking dicks. As soon when I first saw them and they didn't say anything, I was like, yo, these guys look badass. Yo, what are they about? And then they opened their mouth and I was like, yo, why you shitting on the dude for, man? Like, he's like, it's his sister, yo. Have some sympathy, man. What the fuck?
Yo, that asshole kept stabbing her too?
Yeah, man. I was like, yo, I hope every one of these motherfuckers die. Every one of them. They need to get ate by a demon for sure. But
except for the dude who like stuck up for them.
Oh yeah, the guy from the beginning, right?
Yeah,
he's cool.
Yo, what do you think of the master, the blind dude with the purple face?
He's sketchy as fuck, man. I think he's part of.
Really?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, I feel like he's playing both sides. Like, I got a lot of like
interesting
Emperor vibes, like Star Wars Emperor vibes, like Palpatine vibes.
Interesting.
I feel like
I'm impressed that you made that reference.
I know
you like
that.
Me too.
I know you like that. Brother, been reading, yo. but I'm getting Palpatine vibes, like, straight up, man. So I don't know. I'm keeping a close eye on him because I don't trust him yet fully.
And to be honest, go on, Darcy.
I would say that I feel the same way, but I feel like he's not Palpatine. He's Palpatine's disciple in that analogy. Like that's how I
Yeah,
felt about him. Whereas like the other guy is the more powerful
yeah,
person, the
yeah,
other
yeah,
villain,
yeah,
but he's like his disciple and he's
yeah,
playing both sides.
yeah,
I
yeah,
felt the same way when I saw him too. I'm
yeah.
like, I saw him, I'm like, yeah,
I'm
I
like, I don't
almost
trust it. You look guilty, man. Like,
he looks guilty, and then he does something. You're like, okay, he's kind. No, I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know.
I'm like, what's the deal with those scars, yo? Like, what's going on with you, man? Like, what's happening right now?
I
Like, I don't
feel
trust them.
for me, I find him to be someone kind of like a Professor X type person. Like I see him as someone who was injured by Muzan, and he's like out to get him, and he's like created. Well, then again, the Demon Core has been around for a while,
You're too trusting, bro. Like,
it's,
you know, you're too trusting, man. Like, you'd be the first to die in this universe.
I would not survive against the demon. Who are we kidding? I'll be behind both of you. You guys will be my demon slayer, and I'll be Zensu. I hate that motherfucker.
Who's that guy again?
The orange haired dude.
Orange hair. Oh, the blonde?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I don't like that guy at all. He
I
needs to
hate
die
him
too.
so much.
I hope he gets eaten by a demon, like straight up. Like I do not like him. He's so annoying. Even the guy that wears the boar mask.
I'm good with Inosuke.
I hate both those characters, man. I'm not gonna lie, but I hate the blonde dude way more.
Yeah, I like them from a comic relief perspective, but if you had to ask me which one I like more, I like the boar one more. I also love how it's like you're just totally not what you anticipate when you like the reveal.
Yeah.
But yeah, it. The one thing, Tactix, I gotta ask you this: Muzan. I'm gonna ask it without saying it. Did it remind you of anybody in like real life characters?
Which guy?
The
The
main villain.
Oh, Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson all day, bro.
I know.
I'm like, this dude's wearing a smooth criminal suit. That's Michael Jackson all day. Like what?
I know. I'd like it's like and doesn't he like cross dress too as well? Like the
At
character.
the end, he was a woman.
Yeah. I'm like this character is just like like he comes out and I'm just waiting like smooth coming up.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just waiting for it.
Didn't he kick somebody and like do like a Jackson kick also?
He did something, yo. Like, and he didn't even look at the guy. He's just like, boom, like that. And I was like, yo, that's a Michael Jackson move right there, man.
Yo, I need to see like a moonwalk, and I also need to see like the little lean over thing.
Yo, 100%. Actually,
Right.
yo, because of the cross-dressing reference, he's probably a cross between Michael Jackson and Prince, bro.
Yeah.
Like that. I think that's what they're going for, man.
Hell, I respect that inspiration.
Yeah.
T, I have a big question I've been waiting to ask you now that you finished Demon Slayer. You know how we were talking about in a previous episode about empathetic heroes?
Mm-hmm.
And we did talk about Tanjiro as being an empathetic hero.
Yeah.
So now that you've seen the full series, full season,
mm-hmm.
and also based on our discussion before, how do you view Tanjiro in that way? And also, do you want to see more characters like him?
Definitely empathetic. Like like that one scene where he's facing off against the spider guy, and then the spider guy he starts to have like reflections or flashbacks of his past life as a human and like his parents and all that stuff, and then like what's his name again? Tanjiro?
Yep.
Yeah, he can feel his presence and his energy, and he's just like, he shows compassion for him. Like he reaches out and he grabs his hand, and he's just like, I can feel him. Like he's like, he feels saddened by what happened and the wrongs that he's done. And I like that side of him because it's like, yo, even though you're like killing off all of these like demons and stuff like that, you actually show remorse for them, and you have an understanding of the fact that yes, even though they're doing really heinous shit, they at one point were human, and therefore it makes you human because of the fact that you're empathizing with them. And that's I really appreciate that, and I would love to see more heroes like that. And that's why I don't like the dude with the boar mask, because I feel like we would never get that kind of empathy from a character like that. He just comes off as a cocky, arrogant idiot, and I don't like it.
Very similar to like other anime characters, but in comparison to Tanjiro, he's like. But one thing, like I like what you said just now. It's almost like he sees every demon as a victim.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he's freeing them.
Yeah, and I think part of that is because of what's going on with his sister. The fact that she's a demon herself, but she was able to um like restrain herself from her impulses of being a demon, right? And I think he kind of realizes that, and it's like she's a constant reminder and a symbol for what these demons are. Like they were stripped away of their humanity, and now they've become this other being altogether, where they have no control over their human instincts, and they're being governed and pretty much controlled by this monstrous instinct, right? So I think he realizes that, and he kind of tries to show as much compassion as he can, even though he knows at the end of the day, yo, I gotta fold these dudes. So
yeah, and like the spider guy, he fucked him up, and also fucked up Tanjiro's sister too. And he still had the ability to have compassion for him at the end. And I just and then like right afterwards, the Hashiras were like, just like you were saying, they were giving him grief for that.
Because they're bitches, man. Like they're gonna die. They're all gonna die.
Yo.
They don't have that essence of empathy like he does, right? And I think that's what's gonna set him apart and make him a badass demon slayer. Sorry, Darcy. Go ahead.
No. It's all good. I forgot what I was gonna say.
No,
sorry.
No. I don't know. It's just. Oh no, I was gonna say about the Boar Mask character and showing like typical anime characters is that the show would be lesser if it didn't try to show. It requires that it shows the comparison between the empathetic character and the stereotypical character, and the characters who lose their soul in the process and all that kind of stuff, because you can make an empathetic character, but it's not going to stand up unless you can show how it stacks up against all the common conventions, right?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I'm not saying that I don't want them in the show. I just hate them, and that's the reason why. It's like you need that contrast between the hero and those annoying characters, right? I didn't think they needed two annoying characters. I think one would have sufficed, but I get what you're saying.
Now I have a question for both of you based on what you guys just said. In comparison to other anime, let's keep it at anime for now, but like other anime protagonists, how would you rate Tanjiro in comparison to those ones?
He reminds me a lot of Deku.
Yeah, I can see that. Actually, that's true.
I feel like he has a stronger display of empathy than Deku does, but
and more resolve. Deku's a crybaby.
Yo, that's harsh, man.
Go fuck Deku.
That's my dude, bro. Come on, man. Like,
did you just say fuck Deku? Wow.
No, okay, I want to see Tactix' response because I know.
Watch. Yo, in 2 seasons, he's gonna be a badass motherfucker, and you're gonna eat your words, bro. Watch.
I worry about Deku. He makes me worry like a mother.
I don't worry about him at all. I don't worry about him at all.
He is reckless.
He knows what he's doing, yo. He's learning as he goes, and he's gonna fuck shit up in the next 2 seasons. Watch.
Bro, as a trainer, look at what he did to his arms.
Doesn't matter. What would you have him do in that situation, though, bro?
Use the other arm?
He made the sacrifice play.
Yay. Umar, just let it go, bro.
I'm just saying, Deku is reckless. Now, granted, he's becoming less reckless, but I'm just saying. Anyway, Darcy, how about you? Like, where does Tanjiro rank with your other anime?
Fuck you, Umar, man. Fuck you, bro.
Yo, I mean, he's high up there. He's right up there with Deku for me. Like, he is like the same kind of character. And they're different. Like, Deku has an internal motivation. And Tanjiro has an external one, right?
Yeah.
But he has but that creates an internal dichotomy that he has to face. I'm gonna draw a line because while Tax was talking earlier, it made me see something personal with Tanjiro and myself, and I'm trying not to take too much heaviness in this analogy of like a straight comparison of two things. But so being biracial, right? I grew up raised by a white mother, and in like white communities, and very early on, I had a lot of racist experiences, and I was once asked, like, after like me making my first set of black friends or whatever, years later, they're like, like, why don't you like hate white people because you've dealt with so many like racism, right? But I'm like, but my mother's white, so the very first person
Uh,
who showed me love
Mhm.
is also a representation of the very first people who inflicted pain on me on my very first day of school, right?
Mhm.
And every subsequent day after that for quite a while. And so that dichotomy immediately made me have to answer the question at a very young age that you have to take these things case by case by people and judge the person, not the exterior,
yo,
right?
that's deep, man.
And
Yeah.
that's what Tanjiro is like. The world has this like, you just get introduced immediately to the concept of demons, and his very first introduction, he's introduced at a dichotomy. I dichotomous. I'm trying to see what the word would be for that. But a scenario that the thing that is a demon is a thing that he loves, and it showed him kindness while trying to kill him,
Yeah.
right? And that all presents a question and an answer that he will have to answer differently than everybody else, and prove to everybody else that he has a different viewpoint, that it's not quite as simple as you see it, because I already have evidence it's not.
For me, I would say that like I hold Tanjiro in a very high level, in a lot of the same ways of what you're just describing, Darcy, and also what you were saying to Tactics, in the fact that like humanity is not being subverted or suppressed. Like with the Hashras, they've had their humanity suppressed, and I think Tactics, you made that point. But with Tanjiro, he's actually like in other situations he would be considered like an emo character, but instead he's like the protagonist. And
Mhm.
also he is smart, he is capable, he is humble, and he's a badass fighter, and he works hard. And like, but his defining characteristic is that he loves, and he is empathetic, and shows mercy. And the fact that this series is doing so well, and he is the protagonist, and I haven't heard anyone saying that they can't stand Tanjiro. I've heard people say that they cannot stand Zensu, along with myself. Inosuke, people are kind of like half and half. They enjoy his stupidity, and also the fact that he's just like random. But with Tanjiro, he's always been like, everyone loves Tanjiro, and I'm actually really happy that this character is in such a thing that is getting such success. And also, I really do hope it shows more of the character, this type of character.
I have one more thing I wanted to throw here. Sorry,
Yeah,
I felt you were here for topics, and I just like, I have one more
I
thing I
was,
wanted to
but
say.
like, no, go on.
Um, the one thing I love about his character is he has a power that when he gets his full set of powers, he's beyond everybody else, because it's like he can stand right in front of somebody with his hand on his blade in the hilt, I think you call it,
Yep.
ready to draw it, and look directly at somebody with empathy and say like I can give you mercy.
Yeah.
Do you want this? Like, basically, like in a scenario where someone's arrogant and they're like, he's like, stop, and I won't kill you. Or somebody who's like, I just want it to be over, right? And you can look at them, and you be like, you ask the question like, do you want me to move forward, right?
Mhm.
And depending on their arrogance or their pain, they'll answer with their action, and then in an instant it's over. Like it's
Yeah.
that much power. It's like you have the all-knowing ability right now to end it, and you have the strength to say, I'm only good. It's not like he's like, oh, I have to kill, like some people, like, oh, I have to do this, like it's like an impulse. He's like, no, he's like, it's not like he's also like conflicted, like if he's gonna kill you, like he's not conflicted about doing it. It's just like, I'm giving you the choice from a kindness,
Mhm.
and you can decide. And then they decide, and then it's done. And there's something so powerful about that moment. Just, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a natural warrior instinct or a warrior characteristic in the sense of they have a firm belief in that you don't draw your sword unless you have every intention of using it, right? So it goes back to what you were saying, Darcy, about like, it's almost like you're asking the warrior is asking is that's like, are you sure you want to do this? I'm giving you an opportunity to bow out of this because I'm all about peace, but at the same time, yo, I will destroy you if I have to draw my sword, kind of thing, right? So I get what you're saying. I appreciate that too, because it's just that whole belief and that whole principle behind what constitutes as a warrior is very fascinating to me in that sense.
Yeah, he doesn't
Yeah.
do it like a Goku where it's like, I
No.
just need to prove something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not out of arrogance or inflated ego.
As he says, like in to stop the demons from killing more people and continuing the cycle of pain, I will bring down my sword without mercy.
Mhm.
But at the same time, that doesn't mean that I don't have compassion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's more so of a protection for him and the people around him, but his overall mission, I think, is, well, for one, to save his sister, and as a result, it was a byproduct of that, saving the rest of, not humanity, but saving the rest of those who were infected by the demon blood.
Yeah. So before we run out of time, we do have to get to our last part, which is also another thing I've been looking forward to talking Tactix about because he takes his time with things. WandaVision, we're going to do our mid-season review and possible theories if we have time. So Tactix, seeing as how I think you are the one, so you've seen episode 5. Okay, yeah. So there's one more episode that Darcy and I have watched. So buddy, take it away. What did you think? What do you think of WandaVision so far?
So I'm starting to really like it. I was getting very fed up with the whole
Sitcom style.
sitcom style. I was just like, yo, if they do one more of these, I'm out. I'm checking out. But okay, with that being said, in that concept, talking about the cameo, the sitcom concept makes so much sense and is genius, because the fact that they brought back Pedro, but not the whatever, not the MCU version, but the X-Men version,
the Fox one,
because in TV sitcoms they do recasting all the time. Like that, like when that happened, when I saw that, my head automatically went to Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and the recasting of Harvin. And I was like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, so like, because the way they set it up, it's like you only see the back of his head. So I'm thinking, oh, it's about time they bring this guy back. I was wondering why, she was so focused on bringing back Vision and then just totally was like, well, forget my brother. So in my head, I'm thinking, oh, it's the MCU version, and then they switch it around and it's the X-Men version. And I'm like, oh shit, like that caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting that, and I tried to avoid spoilers the best I could.
I'm so glad you did.
Yeah. But yeah, I like that, and now I have more of an appreciation for the sitcom shtick that they're incorporating into the show. But now it's like, well, are they ever going to do a season 2, or is this just kind of like a one and done type of deal? Because it like, are they gonna, like, how do they recapture the same kind of format and make it interesting?
I don't think we get a season 2, but it really depends on how the show ends. Because I feel like you can't stay in this world that we're in right now.
Yeah.
Like long term. Otherwise, it's like, what's happening to her character? She's just like stuck in a loop. Like, it's like drawn out. Oh man, I had something I wanted to say and I forgot it. Forget. Oh damn.
I love that they brought back her accent though when she came out of the.
Oh, thank you.
I was like, yo, I got chills. I was like, yo, she's a badass, man. Like,
and she also had some Magneto vibes when she turned all the guns on the dude.
Yeah. That was crazy, man. I like that.
And also, I really love the episode about Sword when they show like Monica Rambeau's background, and also like her meeting up with Jimmy Woo and him doing like the card trick, like all these like subtle little callbacks to all the things that we've seen in the previous movies, and Darcy getting her PhD and becoming a doctor now, and like them like forming like a little like gang together. Mm-hmm. Darcy, you remember yet?
Yeah, I remember. I was gonna shout out my girl Darcy on the show. Yeah, you know. But I love when she was like, when Pietro comes in, she's like, "What? She recast him?" Like the whole thing, like she recast her dead brother. What the fuck? Kind of like a moment.
Yeah.
I'm really liking Darcy. Like I enjoyed her in Thor.
I was okay with her.
I like when I say enjoyed, it was like, yeah, in the context of everything, it's cool, it's whatever, right? Like I wasn't like, oh my god, like this is the best character. But now I'm just like totally in love with her. Her and Jimmy Woo like are just awesome, like on screen together.
Yo, I heard Jimmy Woo, like someone is pitching a Jimmy Woo series that's going to be like with him and Darcy as like a satirical X-Files style. and I want that to happen.
Yeah, that'd be so good.
I don't know yet. I don't know about that.
Yeah,
Why'd you
yeah.
gotta get Scooby Woo?
I don't know about that yet.
Yo, I gotta throw this out here. I know we probably short on time, but I gotta say this quickly. Tactics. I was telling Umar earlier in a chat. I'm like, you know, what I would love to see like a show that basically was like sword and shield characters following the events of everything that's happened throughout all the movies ever. And because we were texting and you were saying we're talking about something in an episode that you haven't seen yet, and it was like a very tense and awkward moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was and Umar was like, "Oh, it'd be awkward to be in that room right now." And I was like, "Man, I would love to see like sword and shield agents like just like living their life and like cleaning up after all the events of all the movies and like all the crazy moments." You remember like the guy in the Avengers who was like, he's like, and this guy is playing like Minesweeper or whatever, and he goes back to playing it. Like, I would love to see like the other guy come over after and be like, "Yeah, man, so what do you think about doing after this thing? You want to go to like the like just like I would love to see a show like that. I don't know why.
It reminds me of that show. I can't remember what I think it was called Powerless with Vanessa Hudgens, and it's like it takes place in the universe where it's like Bruce Wayne's cousin or something like that. It's like a satirical show or whatever, where it was like the world of superheroes, but from the perspective of like civilians and shit, not actual superheroes.
Yeah, I've just seen. I saw a promo for that, but I never watched it.
I never watched it, but it just kind of sounds like that same kind of concept where you take it. It's like you're telling the story from a different perspective, other than the heroes.
It's just such a big universe. There's so much content to be done.
Yeah.
So before we run out of time, I really want to ask, what are your theories of what's actually going on?
I think that there's still another villain. I mean, they've hinted at it because like Monica Rambeau is like hinting at like we don't know the full truth, and I think that we have to find out what the other villain that is manipulating Wanda and to see what's really going on. And I'm waiting for some really big like cameos to put to show up. That's all I'm saying.
T?
Man, I can't call it. I really can't. I mean, I feel like this is a good segue into the X-Men now, because like obviously you guys probably know more than me at this point, but how did he show up? Like, because she told Vision that she wasn't responsible for him being there.
Yo, I gotta say, Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany are getting a lot of time to shine, and good for them.
Absolutely, yeah.
Facts.
For me, like my theory is that I still think that Dottie, or AKA Mephisto, is still pulling the strings. I think he's using Agnes to kind of like manipulate Wanda, and I think they use subliminal messaging to get her to like make her own kids, and I think they use subliminal messaging to get her to bring back her brother.
You think the General's Manifesto?
Oh, you mean the head of S.W.O.R.D?
Yeah.
He is dodgy. He is super dodgy.
Oh yeah. Right out of the gate when I first met him, I'm like, yeah, this motherfucker is going to be involved in something wrong. Like that's all I can think.
He gave me Demon Slayer vibes. The dude, like, he gave me the same vibes. You know, I like, I don't know about this guy.
I think he was trying to weaponize Vision, and I think the reason why he's so pissed off is like he wants to get Vision back, or he's trying to like hide his secret. But like, I don't know. Either he's like the outside helper to Mephisto, because like he's just vilifying Wanda constantly. Granted, Wanda is not helping her cases either, but it's like he's like trying to kill her.
Yeah, no, he's straight up like not listening. And you know when like a good leader would be like, okay, taking on the information and then make a logical decision. He's made a decision and doesn't ask for any input.
Yeah, and for me, I still think that Dottie is Mephisto and she's in charge. I don't know if Wanda is doing this herself and is having someone outside mess with it, or if someone set up the situation and she just kind of like filled out the gaps. But Wanda and Vision's fight at the end of episode 5 that you saw, that was intense.
Yeah. I mean, it's a solid show. It's surprised. It's been better than expected. So I'm glad.
What would you rate it out of 10 quickly?
I'm going to reserve judgment until I see the entire series.
So far, what would you rate it? Like a mid-season review?
had it been just the first 3 episodes, I would have rated this like a 5 or a 4 because I'm like, I'm not with this. But now it's kind of like it's moving up the rank. I'll give it like I'll give it a 7 so far.
Okay, Darce.
Going up the first 5 episodes, I'm gonna have to give it a 8. Yeah.
For the first 5 episodes, I would give it a 10. I have not enjoyed anything as much as this. It has called on everything that I love, and it's made me turn into a child and like look into everything like I did with Lost. And I feel like just I love it all.
Yeah.
I love it all.
Hopefully, it doesn't have the same ending as Lost, though.
Agreed.
True. It's been a 10 ever since we got the reveal, like since Jimmy Woo's character's been involved. The first 3 episodes are like, you know, it was good, but yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we're gonna wrap things up now. I'm your boy Tactix.
Just Darcy here.
And this is Big Geek Umar. Live long and prosper, y'all. Like and subscribe.
We're just gonna run out the clock. Let's just run out the clock. How much
You
time we
just,
got?
you just want to awkwardly run off the clock? I think we have like 10 seconds left.
All right. Happy New Year.